Hello and welcome to another episode of Wake Up Poverty Inspires Me, the podcast. I hope you're having a blessed and a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and if you're not, you can. A pattern. A pattern is a repetition. A pattern is something that is repetitive in nature, almost without thinking. Patterns in nature are everywhere. Trees have rings, leaves have branches, and little flowers grow out of these trees, out of these branches, and grow fruit. I'm trying to think, and I get stuck in the trying because it's really everywhere. Patterns. But if I try to think about a pattern, I get stuck. Why? Why do we get stuck? If you want to set a New Year's resolution and in 4 weeks you're doing the opposite, where did you get unstuck from your goal in the first place? How did that happen? Problem is, it's easier to justify inaction. It's easier to not pay attention to that thing. It's easier to move things to a different place where you're comfortable. But these things, they don't go away. They still exist. They still exist in your mind. They still exist as part of you. Their thoughts, their things, their people, their places. But they're all connected to you. So who are you? Who am I? What is this? And who cares if I got better or worse? What would it matter if I changed, if 2 generations later I was forgotten about and the pattern repeated itself? Would it do any good to even recognize your own pattern? If the pattern is just set to redo itself. Human history is repeating patterns of behavior over and over and over. We try to change only to separate more. The more we try to understand, the more the knife cuts things into places that can be scattered into different patterns of operation that can fit into intricate series of things that create a reality. If you go to work every day the same way, you probably get out of the bed the same way. You probably do the same thing before you leave, maybe with minute differences. And then when if you get to work, if it's a Monday or Tuesday, or depending on the day of the week, you may act a certain way, you may be a certain way, you might have ups and you may have downs. But there'll be a steady state behind that, like a heartbeat. It's there. It's a pattern. It's like a vibration or a feeling, a movement. So even if you're going left, you're going right, it's like an air conditioner in a room and it gets set back to 75. You gotta raise it, you gotta change it. But you can't raise, you can't change, you can't do anything about something that you don't know anything about. It's something you're not willing to learn about. Well, how do I learn about the patterns? What if at the end of the day the pattern ended and you get to look back and watch the movie of your life over and over and over again? What would you see? Would you see the pattern of starting something and then quitting? Would you see the pattern of playing a victim in a role? Would you see the pattern of trying to become or trying not to become? Would you see the patterns of day and night, of year, decade? What would it matter if at the end of the day the pattern repeated itself in 3 generations? What would it matter about it now? This is a deep philosophical question because it means, how are you going to live your life now? Are you going to notice that the patterns and the things that you're doing in your life are aiding to a happy life, or are they taking you away into a pattern of redundant behavior like a machine? But every machine must have an operator. No machine works of its own accord if somebody didn't design the machine to be operated by something. That's why it's a machine. Think your body is not a machine? Does it not have to be fed every day? Does it not have to have regular tune-ups? Does your body not need to be in physical condition, mentally, spiritually, so you can be at your best self, rested, healthy, wealthy, and wise? Wouldn't that be a requirement of an organic machine? I would think so. To perform to its fullest potential, it must have these traits. It must be part of these qualities. Unfortunately, the dragon eats its tail. The pattern repeats itself. Different day, different opportunity. Same shit, same reality. Which one wins? It keeps going. The pattern keeps playing itself over. What are you going to do different to change that? What you see. Well, if you're thinking, then you're looking. And if you're looking, you will find. This is a powerful thing. This is a powerful introspective tool that I use in my life, and that you could use in your life very easily, to flip the switch on creative reality. Recognize everything. The patterns of your behavior, how you eat, how you think, what you're doing during your day. And then look at it like if you were watching a movie. But like any good movie, you gotta watch it more than once so you can see the repetitive behavior. And if this behavior doesn't serve you in your present moment of life, why are you doing it? Why are you living that way if it's not serving your present moment of life? You can't live for a moment that doesn't exist because it doesn't exist. So, wouldn't it be better to work with what exists? And that opportunity work with what exists means the opportunity to create something out of existence. But how can I create what I can't see? You start to see it. And now you have power of creation. So replacing new things in place of the old. New thoughts, new feelings, new ways of seeing the world. To live compassionately. Carry the anger. Carry the rage, the frustration, the loneliness. And use it when you need to have that extra energy to work that extra hour, to make that extra meal, to mop that extra floor, to make your bed, to brush your teeth, to care for yourself. And then take that physical action and then repeat it with something else small, because whatever the mind says, the body will do. And then repeat it again. Slowly you'll start to believe in yourself. You start to believe that you can do anything you set your mind to, because you start to see you're being more successful than failure. Failure is a beautiful thing. I love to fail, because if I fail, then one day I'm going to succeed. You got to believe that. If I keep failing, one day I'm going to succeed. And guess what that means? You're going to keep going. You're going to keep going. You're going to recognize the pattern, and you're going to have the ability to change it. What power in that? You know, you ever had a ceiling fan and it's spinning in a certain direction? It'll feel like it's pulling the air up. And then if you take that same fan and you switch it from the top, it'll feel like it's pushing the air down. What a difference. What do you think you did that switch of pattern movement of your mind? You put a little bit of action behind it. What could you create? Who could you become? What qualities would you have to have? What kind of introspection and self-belief would it take for you to recognize the pattern and do something about it? You have that power too. Just like me. Recognize it, build it, change it, create it, become it. It's possible. I hope you have a blessed and fantastic day. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this 10-minute wisdom of Wake Up Poverty Inspires Me, the podcast. Just in that wanting, don't put it outside of what already exists.